Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Well, if you're flipping through NFL Network this morning on Good Morning Football, you might have caught former LSU Tiger Michael Brockers, good enough to jump aboard with us here out from L.A. Yo, man, good to talk again. How are you?
Man, I'm good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. How's the wake-up call?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that I've done it before, so I was already, prepared to wake up at 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, to get prepared for my call. So, if I wasn't already prepared for it, it would have been miserable.
You caught a nap?
Definitely called a nap. I needed that for sure.
I hear you, man. Hey, it was cool to see at the draft that you got to call a few picks. How did that all come together?
Man, just, out of nowhere, just, they gave me the opportunity to reach out to my lady, Miss Yolanda, and talk to her and the opportunity. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. When somebody gives you an opportunity to go to the draft and, give out a pick, I think, you should take it. So, that's what I did.
Is it the Rams that reached out or does the NFL pick?
I think it was the NFL. I don't think they were necessarily like the Rams organization. I think it was just a good look for the NFL.
Yeah. Michael Brockers is with us. So you're kind of putting on the analyst cap this week. Let me ask you some things that are super relevant here in Louisiana with the Saints right now. Over the weekend, we saw a report from Jeff Duncan that the Saints will not pursue Aaron Rodgers as a veteran quarterback option. What do you think, man? Should the Saints pursue a guy like Aaron Rodgers?
I mean, in my years of experience, brother, you can't win without a quarterback. You can't win in this league. And, the important games, in January and things like that, December and January, without a quarterback. So to see an organization not focus on a quarterback, but, we are talking about a, 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers as well. So, there's play on both sides.
So how much of the Rodgers played 17 games last year with the Jets. They just weren't a very good team. So when you looked at the Jets last year, how much of it was aging Aaron Rodgers? How much of it is they just don't have a good enough roster to compete?
I mean, I don't know, man. I watched the game and I'm watching it as, an athlete, and I'm watching him. He's throwing a lot of things off the back foot, not sure how the Achilles is, has healed up. And a lot of those passes were underthrown and things like that. And, he still had zip on the ball, but, really putting weight on that back leg and really letting it go, we will see if he can still do it. I think he'll be on one of these teams. Everybody needs a quarterback at some point in time. So hopefully we'll see it this season.
Michael Brockers is our guest. I'm glad you brought up the whole you can't win without a great quarterback. I would love to know your feelings as well as a guy like who could relate to some of the veteran players on this Saints team, Brock, where like it feels very much like the Saints are going to be in the midst of a rebuild, but how do you go to work? What is the feeling like as a veteran player on this roster right now, looking around going, man, this probably isn't going to be a great season?
Mm-hmm. Man, being on a team that, was dealing with, a quarterback identity, defensively, you feel like we got to get it done. If offense, they feel like they can't get it done. Defensively, we got to get turnovers. We got to be, extra aggressive. We got to, get touchdowns, to get out there and help this team win a game. You don't practice for no reason. They don't put in game plans for no reason. Sorry about that.
What was that?
But they
what
don't.
Was that?
Looking at it, I think it's a helicopter. They don't put in game plans for no reason. So you go out there practicing, preparing to win the game, but the defense, they feel like they got most of their veteran leaders on the defense. They feel like they got to get it done.
When you all drafted Jared Goff with the Rams, did you feel like you could win immediately?
I mean, with Sean McVay, man, and that whole staff when they came in, and just the belief they had in themselves, he really told us like, man, defensively, if you guys keep it up, keep doing what you're doing, we were, in the top defenses in the league. He was like, man, offensively, I'm gonna come in here and change this thing up. So we just believed in the system. He treated us as men. He held us accountable. I think that was a really big thing, as players, just, held us to the highest standard, didn't try to change us, personally, but, just held us to a high standard. And, if everybody really wants to win games in this league, everybody bought in. So I think that's what, made him so successful and, why he is who he is today.
There's another guy on that staff who you got to play under. That was the defensive coordinator with the Rams in 2020, and that was Brandon Staley, who's now in New Orleans as well. What was it like playing for Brandon Staley?
Staley was cool, man. Staley. It was funny. He always correlated because I think he's a basketball guy by nature, in his heart. So he attended a lot of things to the basketball game, and he talked about some of the greats that played basketball. But he was a pleasure to play with. His mind mentally, how he thinks about the game, how he wants to attack the game, and things like that. So it was very pleasing to play under him and be successful with that group of guys.
What would you describe as his style, how he plays?
Very aggressive. Like, for us D linemen, man, we want to get after the quarterback. And, if he has a group of guys he feels like can get after the quarterback without blitzing and things like that, he'll let us roll. So, having AD and having all these tremendous players, surrounding him, one-on-ones, we can get our one-on-ones and get after the quarterback without blitzing. It makes the defensive game so much easier. So, you don't have to scheme up, other blitzes and things like that. But he loves to get after the quarterback.
Michael Brockers is with us. Got two more for you. You said talking about being a defensive lineman. Tush push, ban it or keep it?
I said it this morning, man. I don't think you need to ban it because it's a quarterback sneak. I mean, it's been run for centuries. It just so happened they have guys and the players to make it more successful. So I think defensively we have to figure out how we can beat it or load up on that one side. I don't know, but I don't think you ban a play because they're having much success with it. It's our job defensively to stop it.
Your other former team, the Lions, have proposed changing the playoff seeding so it would be just by record, not the division winners getting the top seeds. What do you think about that?
I don't know, man. How it's been going. I mean, the division seeds and the records. I know because you have some of those 8-8 teams that can squeak in. But if you win the games, man, nobody can complain. So go out there and win the games. I think that's the most important thing.
Rock, you on NFL Network again tomorrow?
I am.
Good deal. So Good Morning Football. What time you get cranked up?
Man, I think show starts 6 a.m. Eastern, maybe. I don't know. I'm be honest with you. I know it's so early for me. I don't know what time it is on the East Coast. So it's just gonna be early. So we're gonna be everybody that's can eat breakfast and cut on the TV, watch some Good Morning Football.
Former Tiger great Michael Brockers. Catch him tomorrow on Good Morning Football on NFL Network. Thanks, man. Always great to chat.
Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.